Welcome. Today we're digging into the massive shifts happening in global trade. And I mean, this is a complete overhaul of how things move around our planet, and it really affects everything we buy, sell, and use every single day.
So think about the last thing you ordered online. You know, that simple click? Well, it's actually part of a story that's so much bigger than just your doorstep. It's about a fundamental reboot of the systems that have powered our world for decades. Okay, let's get into it. You know, the very foundations of global trade are being rewritten as we speak. And we're not just talking about little tweaks here and there. This is a deep structural change, and it's being driven by three really powerful interconnected forces. So, what are these big forces? Well, first, you've got the digital revolution, which is making trade way smarter. Second, there's a huge shift towards more regional, kind of localized partnerships. And third, what we're calling the green imperative. It's setting completely new standards for sustainability. Let's break each one of these down.
All right, first up, the digital revolution. Technology isn't just, speeding things up. It's creating entirely new, more intelligent, and way more efficient systems for how goods and services get across borders.
So what's the engine behind all this change? Well, as you can see, it's this trio of powerhouse technologies. You've got artificial intelligence to optimize logistics, blockchain for super secure and transparent transactions, and automation to boost efficiency in everything from warehouses to shipping. And these aren't just ideas for the future, they are actively reshaping trade right now. And here's the crucial part. It's how these technologies all come together to create what we call digital trade platforms. Just think of them as these online ecosystems that totally simplify the incredible complexity of international business. Cutting through red tape, streamlining customs, and optimizing shipping routes in real time. It's a game changer. And this isn't some abstract concept. We see this in action with names we all recognize, right? Platforms like Alibaba and Amazon Global are using these digital ecosystems to empower literally millions of small and medium-sized businesses, giving them access to a global marketplace that was once basically impossible for them to reach. Now, our second major force is this big pivot away from the old way of doing things. For a long, long time, the goal was these massive, one-size-fits-all global agreements. But now, we're seeing a really clear trend towards something much more focused and, local. And this slide really lays out the contrast perfectly. On the left, that's the old model. Super complex multilateral systems trying to get every country on the same page. But on the right, that's the new focus, regional agreements. In a world with all these supply chain disruptions and geopolitical shifts, countries are now forming these smaller, more nimble partnerships with their neighbors to create more resilient and aligned trade blocs. And that brings us to our third, and maybe the most transformative force of all, sustainability. It's just not a nice-to-have or some marketing buzzword anymore. It's quickly becoming a non-negotiable requirement, a whole new standard for doing business on the world stage. I mean, just look at how the priorities are shifting. In the past, logistics was all about speed and cost. That's it. Now the mandate is for low-carbon solutions. Energy is moving from conventional sources to renewable ones. And sourcing? It's no longer just about finding the lowest price. It's about being ethical and transparent. This is a massive change, and it's being driven by both us, the consumers, and by governments. And this is happening right now. A perfect example is the European Green Deal. This policy is setting a powerful new benchmark by basically saying, hey, if you want to trade with us, you have to meet our green standards. This is forcing companies all over the world to completely rethink their supply chains just to get access to one of the world's biggest markets. So what's the bottom line here? It's that these green practices, they're no longer just about following the rules. They have become the #1 source of new competitive advantage in global trade, period. Okay, so when you put all three of these pieces together, the digital revolution, the regional shift, and the green mandate, what does the new face of global trade actually look like?
It really boils down to three new rules of the game. Trade is becoming smarter because it's powered by technology. It's becoming more local, built on these focused regional partnerships, and it's becoming greener, driven by a global demand for sustainability. This is the new playbook.
And all of this brings us right back to you and that package on your doorstep. As this entire system of global trade gets smarter, more local, and more sustainable, it leaves us with one last really important question to think about. What new responsibilities do we now have as consumers in this rapidly changing interconnected world?